start closing out on shooters a little more aggressively. Something to keep an eye on as we get into it.
San Diego opens up the second half with the basketball, and again, just prior to halftime, we told you that in all 5 of their wins, they have led or been tied at halftime. The Arrows give up the basketball on their first possession here in the second half. Harris to the bucket, has it rejected. Johnson, Rob Jones had his left foot on the line. 2 quick turnovers for San Diego. Jones was active in the first few minutes of the ball game, then rather silent the last 14-15 minutes of the first half. 35-33, San Diego in front.
Patterson is the focal point. He should get touches early, and there it is.
They're rejected by Palmer. Brandon Johnson runs it down and throws it up and in.
That's his strength. The speed with that basketball is the strength of Johnson. And he's very dangerous from one end to the other in the open floor. Kentucky did a good job the first half of taking that away from him. We'll look at him just back off of Curry. Again, forming a sandwich on 54 in white is a team in blue.
Curry and Crawford opened up on the floor for Gillespie here in the second half. Neither started the game. Bradley throws it up. Got his defender Tremaine Johnson up in the air, and he'll go to the line.
Talk about the speed of Johnson for San Diego. You see number 1 come up with his basketball. He's a small beat kind of guard, has great speed, and he just pushed that thing all the way to the rim just like you're taught. Until the defender shuts you off, you keep advancing that thing to the rim.
Johnson had a game-high 18 points in the victory over Texas San Antonio. Bradley hits the first. Here comes Deshaun Jackson. Johnson to take a seat. Brandon Johnson, 10 points. Averages just over 16 a game, 5th in the West Coast Conference. Junior, a couple of free throws for Bradley, 37-35 after the 2-point game. Crawford all over Jackson. Ginty gets free. Ginty with 3 trays. Brandon Johnson finds Jones. Jones on the floor.
See Kentucky getting out and pressuring the basketball on the perimeter more than they were the first half. Concerned about the 3-point shot.
Curry with the block there on the shot by Palmer.
Bradley just didn't utilize that on-ball screen nearly as well as you should on the college level. I mean, Patterson came and set a screen for Bradley. Bradley never did anything to foot fake his defender, create some separation, come off of the ball screen with a purpose. Things that you've got to continue to work on. Do the routine things over and over and over. Do them well. That's part of being tough.
Jasper back in the game. Jones, bounce pass over to Palmer. Last one off of Palmer. We'll go back to Kentucky.
San Diego out of the West Coast Conference, and that's the same league that the University of San Francisco is in. And we all know that Eddie Sutton has come out of retirement to take on the next 10 weeks at San Francisco. Talked to him Thursday night, and you could sense he had a real joy and a real excitement in his voice about getting back in and trying to get his 800th win. He's still 2 away.
Patterson lays it up off the glass. He has 14. How surprised were you that Eddie Sutton came back?
I was shocked. I read it on ESPN.com and immediately called Coach Sutton, and he answered the phone and said the first thing he's going to try to do is learn the kids' names. I mean, they played last night. Think about it. He gets a job on Wednesday. They played games last night. So he's taking guys out of the game and saying, I don't know what your name is, but you shot the ball too quickly. We take those kind of shots anymore.
Jones with the nice pass to Ginty was all alone. So San Diego had the 3-2 advantage, and Jones with the smart decision to lay it off to Ginty for 2.
San Diego in the locker room, I'm telling you, they said to each other, we can win this ball game. We've proven it the first 20 minutes. We have the lead. Let's continue being the aggressor.
Bradley for 3, in and out. Jones pulls down the miss. What's even more amazing, Jimmy, they're doing this without a senior on the roster.
Right. And they've also had the lead now without making 3-point shots in the second half. So they have a little bit of an answer, like I talked about in the first half. When Kentucky takes the threes away, does USD have an answer?
San Diego making more of a conservative
team to play against from here on out.
Well, he already has to worry about St. Mary's. Palmer's shot doesn't go. Gonzaga.
Sure.
And now he's got to worry about Eddie Sutton. Is there a reason behind his success in the first year of taking over a pro program as Stevenson is fouled going up with the shot, and Stevenson will go to the free throw line?
Well, the blueprint for success Eddie Sutton is the same blueprint that Billy Gillespie has. It's based on toughness, accountability on the defensive end, on every pass, not every possession, but every pass, valuing the basketball, things that take time to instill. And Coach Sutton's working on a short chain as far as the amount of time he has to get those things instilled.
Stevenson with the free throw makes it a one-point game. Well, we've been talking about Billy Gillespie learning his personnel. Opened today's game with his 10th different starting lineup in the first 11 games of the season. Stevenson ties it up at 39.
Now Kentucky trying to force the issue with their defense. Their pure half-court offense, Billy Gillespie knows, might not be good enough to win this game, so he's going to have to get some offense from his defense. That's why you see Kentucky extending the pressure.
Bradley ran into Brandon Johnson, and Johnson hurting on the floor. Looked like he caught one right to the bridge of the nose. Third foul on Bradley.
Hope that's all it is, and it's not a knee. You watch Johnson right here going full speed. Boom, looks like a knee-to-a-knee type thing, which can really sting you, but hopefully that's all it is.
Maybe even a Charlie horse.
Yes.
He's not leaving this game. Jasper goes back to the bench. Harris, Patterson, Crawford, Stevenson, and Bradley on the floor for Kentucky. Tied at 39 here in the second half.
Good job to keep that dribble alive by Brandon Johnson when they blitzed him on that ball screen.
He tried to get it down low to Palmer. Crawford with a nice defensive play. Ball last touched by. We'll play this game without 35 players who were suspended for the game, and one of the players said, boy, he got on the bus making the way to Nashville, Tennessee. Couldn't believe all the leg room.
A lot more leg room when you have 35 guys not making the trip.
Harris with some run to the bucket there, lays it up and in, and Kentucky's in front for the first time since the opening moments.
Kentucky's best offense right now is their defense.
And 23,756 are making some noise in this joint. Johnson off the glass.
That's exactly what you have to do against pressure on the road, and that's exactly the situation San Diego have. Can someone just go get you a basket?
The 6-footer amongst the trees lays it up and silences the crowd. Back at 41, we are tied.
You either have to do it off the bounce, or you have to have a low post stud that you can throw it to on the road to stop the momentum.
Jackson, defended by Crawford. Crawford with a big defensive player just before the timeout. Johnson again had it rejected that time. Palmer, right place, right time, lays it up and in.
And San Diego has answered the question that I had. Do they have a counter when Kentucky gets out and take away the threes? Right now the counter is number 1 in dark blue, off the bounce, causing Kentucky problems.
Palmer now a 1,000-point career scorer at San Diego. Gives his team the 2-point advantage.
Continue to pack around Patterson, even on a catch. That secondary help defender is right in his grill.
Patterson did a good job backing his way in down low, drew the foul. 43-41. Third team foul on San Diego. And Patterson to the line.
Patterson is an angle scorer right now. That's why he shoots sizzling 68% from the field, which is 9th in the country. And what San Diego has done a good job of in this ballgame, Lou, is when he catches the basketball, the primary defender on Patterson is getting right behind him, making Patterson score over instead of scoring around him.
Not a bad free throw shooter, 71%. Kentucky, best free throw shooting team in the SEC at 74%. Patterson with a couple of free throws, coming off a 24-point, 15-rebound effort, making a win against Tennessee Tech. pressure applied by Kentucky. Tied at 43.
Kentucky has to rivet up their defense again, not only on ball, but now they got to clamp down on number one when he drives. They have taken away the three-point shot of San Diego so far in this second half.
Number one, Johnson with it.
There he goes.
His defender, Harris, lost his balance. Shot doesn't go, and Palmer, the offensive rebound, rejected there by Stevenson. He'll go up again with it, and that time he draws the foul.
Lou, it all goes back, though, to the inability of Kentucky to delete the drive of Brandon Johnson, number one, for San Diego.
And here comes Jody Meeks. And that brings the 23,000 plus to their feet. Jody Weeks missed 6 weeks with a stress fracture in the pelvic area, then came back, scored a career-high 21 against Houston, 17 in the first half, Jimmy Dykes, as Palmer hits the first free throw, then missed the next game against Tennessee Tech with a strained hip flexor. What does he do for this team on the floor?
He's their second-best scorer. When he's healthy, he's their second-best scorer behind Patrick Patterson, who now limps to the bench. And if you're Billy Gillespie, you're thinking, my goodness, I get one guy back, and now another guy goes to the bench. Meeks is far from being full speed, but he is capable of being a scorer for a Kentucky team right now that's struggling to score in this ball game on the offensive end. Their defense has produced some opportunities.
Harris's three-point attempt misses everything, and they're working on Patterson's right leg. We'll bring you news as soon as we learn the injury to Patterson. Goes out of bounds. Will stay with Kentucky. 44-43, San Diego in front. They have led most of this game. Jones looking for room. Found Train Johnson, who's open. Shot goes in and out. A good hustle there by Jackson.
So if you're Kentucky, are you tough enough right now to not let one mistake, which is allowing San Diego to have an offensive rebound, come into 2 mistakes? And they don't. There's a foul. So that's 1 mistake followed up by a second mistake. A trait of toughness that you're trying to overcome right now coaching this Kentucky team.
It's a marathon of hoops here on ESPN2 all day and all night long. Talk about it coming up. 44-43, San Diego leads Kentucky here in the second half. Terrell 6-6-8 on the season. Wildcats 5-5. Jones walks with it.
Arizona is going to really test Memphis, in my opinion. I think Memphis is the best club in the country when Dorsey is the protector around that rim, but they will be challenged by Arizona's ability to just go get your own shot from Jared Bayless and Chase Budinger. Jordan Hill can hold his own on the inside. That will be another powerful game in Memphis this evening.
They get the ball down low to Palmer, and Palmer is fouled by Stevenson. We have seen a concerted effort to get the ball down low to Palmer here in the second half. And something that I was told prior to the game was that he didn't fight for it, didn't ask for it enough so far this season, was averaging just 9 shots a game. He's asking for it there.
Well, he does a good job of getting the defender on his back, and once the defender, that time it was Perry Stevenson, was on the back of Palmer, he just gave up on the play and didn't continue to fight. And you just look at San Diego, even their bench, when a call is made or they get to the free throw stripe, they think they can win this basketball game right now. Stevenson to the bench. Palmer with 8 points, averages just under 15 a game.
Second in for San Diego is number 33, Houston. Second out is Palmer.
They are icing the top of Patterson's right leg, Jimmy. It appears to be a cramp, but that is not an official word from the bench area here at Rupp Arena.
Assistant coaches went down to check on him, wanted to put him back in, and he shook his head, said, I'm not ready yet. Talk about a team that could not afford a loss. That would be it.
Now, he didn't play in that Houston game. Foul call there on Tremaine Johnson. He had a bad ankle. So he sat out the Houston game, and sure enough, they lost.
It's interesting. You look around the arena right now. Out of the 23,000, about 14,000 of them, they're actually looking at Patrick Patterson. They're not watching the game. They recognize the concern as well.
But he's standing up, and it looks like he's shaking off that cramp and getting ready to come back. And sure enough, now he's making his way over to Billy Gillespie. That'll be the Brightest sight Gillespie's seen in a while. Curry, nice pass to feed from Harris, and Curry will go to the free throw line.
Does not have a guard that has really given him 3 or 4 easy baskets a game as he banks one in. So for a freshman to produce those kind of numbers tells you about the potential this kid has, especially when he gets surrounded by better players like Billy Gillespie is going to bring in.
Big offensive rebound there. They call it jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of Kentucky, so it will stay at this end.
Well, there's Jody Meeks again, getting a tough traffic two-handed rebound. One of my traits of toughness. Jody Meeks and Jasper Patterson, that's the building block for Billy Gillespie the next couple of years. And I think those guys have that traits of toughness about how they play.
Bradley off the screen, throws up the 3. Off the back iron, Houston pulls down the miss. Brandon Johnson with a dozen so far. In the dribble, Crawford defending. Finds Jones all alone inside the line. Shot doesn't go. Houston the offensive rebound. Bradley comes out with it. Meeks tried to get it down low to Curry and gives it up.
They just don't feed the post very well as a team, Kentucky.
Brandon Johnson draws the foul, and he gets the hoop. Big bucket for Brandon Johnson, who will not be stopped here at Rupp Arena.
You know, he really wasn't a factor in the first half because San Diego was relying on three-point jump shots. But now Kentucky has gotten out and taken away those looks. So now the pressure goes on Brandon Johnson in this second half, and he has answered the pressure. His ability to do something off of the bounce, I talked about it in the first half. Does San Diego have an answer when Kentucky takes away the 3? The answer right now is number 1 in dark blue.
Johnson with 15, as quick as any guard in the West Coast Conference. Down low, Crawford off the glass.
Kentucky's defense has to ratchet it up a notch right now.
Billy Gillespie didn't think there was a player on this San Diego squad that could beat his team off the dribble. Well, Johnson showing otherwise.
He underestimated the ability of Brandon Johnson because right now Johnson is doing anything he wants off of the bounce. And he's doing it against multiple guys that Kentucky's trying to delete the drive with. Right now it's Meeks.
Johnson actually with a better scoring average on the road than at home. So crowds like this do not intimidate the junior.
Johnson can take Meeks. Meeks is not full speed, so Johnson's going to back him out and see if he goes to work on Meeks. There he goes.
Good call, Coach. Goes up the 3 and hits it. Wow, off the screen. 52-46 equals their largest lead of the day.
He's not Robert Vaden from UAB, but Kentucky's starting to see signs of what one guy is doing to Kentucky's defense in the second half. Number 1 in blue is back at work.
He's got the ball, and he was shoved there from behind by Bradley. And it's the 4th foul on Ramel Bradley.
It's not a surprise because Brandon Johnson comes in this ball game as their leading scorer, but his ability to do things off of the bounce. This time he didn't over-penetrate. He pulled up from the perimeter and stuck up one in the grill of the Kentucky defense. And when the question was thrown, this young fella has stepped up with the answer for Bill Greer.
Yeah, look at his shooting numbers in the second half. 4 of 6 from the floor. He's got 18. Misses the free throw. But it's a 6-point lead for San Diego. We're under 10 to go here at Rupp. Kentucky with a lot of standing around. You and I talked about it at halftime.
There's the surround sound defense of Patterson.
Meeks 3 wouldn't fall.
And that surround sound defense is going to continue until Kentucky can knock down perimeter shots.
At the other end, Rob Jones with the left hand. Where'd he come from?
Who was triggered by again? Brandon Johnson's ability to break Kentucky down off of the bounce. Right now, the reason why San Diego has a chance to pull off the upset.